Yo, Yash Deep first in the house. Oh, look, and it's Yash Deep in the bots. I'm an amazing artist. Thank you. Feed the ego, Yash Deep. Really appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. All right, everybody. I'm working on this cover. Joining me to talk about this would be Brandon Mega Potato James. You there?
Hi, everybody.
They'll remember. See how I'm getting them to remember?
Mm-hmm.
It's cool, right? Brandon loves that name.
You know it.
The first day I told you your name should be Mega Potato, he was like, fucking amazing.
That was my exact reaction, yes.
So I'm working on this cover to MegaVisions. And I have this pencil brush that I kind of been tweaking for about, a few months now. And because when I shade with pencil, I can get carpal tunnel pretty easily. So I try to be careful about that. But I do like that look. And so I did a little bit of it with the Anubis cover that's currently up on the channel, for those who want to know. And I thought, hey, I'll do it on this because this is going to be this giant dude, and it'll be a really good kind of practice. Coming to find out that giant characters are just better for me to just fucking draw these things traditionally. This is eating up way more time than if I had just printed the fucker out and drawn it. So, but I'm at the point now where if I did that, I'd probably spend just as much time. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of in it now. I'm in the thick of getting it done. But if you can see, it blends pretty smoothly, and then I worked on getting some color into there. And so this is loosely based off, this is a modified version of one of Kyle's brushes, which are these brush sets this guy Kyle put out. He had this thing called Kyle's brushes. And he recently made them exclusive to Adobe's Studio CC, right? The CC thing, which I don't fucking use. So I use CS5. So you can't even get these brushes anymore. And everyone's kind of like mad at him. He's like, what? You can always re-download the ones you bought. Yeah, but no one else, until they can't, which, I mean, whatever. I back up all my own shit, but I definitely can't get any more of anything else he does. So.
Right. Wow.
Thanks, Jazz Deep. So I thought it'd be fun to, because I can draw this just fine traditionally, but I thought it'd be cool to kind of get that. And I've been thinking maybe this will be the brush I use for the interior art on Game Cave. But I don't know, man. Either this fucking thing starts speeding up or that's just not going to happen, So. This is one of those things where people are like, man, you drew a lot of little things in this piece. It's not hard when you're doing it digitally because the screen only takes up so much. The harder thing is drawing these giant characters because they eat up a lot of screen.
But it's look cool.
It's alright. It's kind of a colossal pain in my ass. Should have been done 2 days ago. So.
Yeah, but it's not like you're a slacker, so.
No, it's not from slacking. It's just that it's just taking too long. I'm like, it's taking too long. What characters? It looks like Garrison. It's Berserk, which predates Garrison. So if you want to know where Joe Mad probably got his idea for Garrison, you should go read a manga called Berserk from the mid-90s. And the anime came out in 97, so he had to have.
Oh, yeah.
He had to have.
I'm sure he's would say, yeah, I took influence from it. Or maybe not. Who knows?
Who knows? Does it matter?
Nah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. I like the older anime more than the newer one, but that's just because I like when they drew everything. I'm not the big on the big CG stuff.
Right.
Makes sense for certain things, but they start adding CG to things that I'm like, you know, like if they redid Full Metal, they'd probably make all of Al. I'm sorry, Ed.
Oh, yeah.
His which one?
The younger one.
The younger one. They'd make
Al's the younger. Or
yeah.
Al's the big knight.
That's what I'm saying. Like they'd make
Yeah.
Al all CGI, which
Right.
It's like I don't know if that would. Right. I actually had imported the original Sword of Berserk on my Dreamcast back in the day. I got that and Fire Pro Wrestling D and Guilty Gear imported on my DCX, in case you think I make it up.
Lucky you said that because I thought you were making it up.
Yeah, man. Certified geek shit over here, Rabbit hose you a Pikachu. Here. Pika.
Ooh, fancy.
There, Pika. Off the top of my head. He looks like that, right?
Yep.
There.
Exactly.
Like Rob eyebrows. Pika. This is what I look like when Brandon tells me his shit still isn't done.
Well. Putting the white highlights on Dalzim right now. Or Dallas.
Culturally appropriated or just actual technique? Yeah. Huh? Is it giving him a mullet?
Yes.
You don't mean like, you mean like literally putting white highlights?
Yes.
That'll be $500. Yeah, $500. The resale on that's going to be amazing.
Good old Sunday night.
That'll be an Xbox One.
Or a Nintendo Switch, the one thing I want that I can't get.
If you weren't too busy buying hardcovers from Mel-Made Books.
Oops.
Yeah, I was goofing around with just the first big area, Toast Arena, it's actually like the second area you go to in Odyssey. And these aren't spoilers, folks. This is pretty basic shit, but you have to get a certain amount of moons, or they changed this per area, but in this case you have to get moons, right?
Okay.
In each area to progress onto another area. And initially you need like 60 moons to move on to the next area. There's 69 available moons on this map. So I'm like, let's see how many of these I can get before I get really... So I've just been fucking digging through. Just like playing through.
Right.
Some of them are super easy. Some of them you're like, really? That, Some of them are literally if you didn't walk randomly out in the desert, you'd probably never find it. Like they, not every map seems to have that many, but there's 69 in the first one alone just to spend your time digging through. Yeah, I'm not taking on any new commissions until I finish the ones I got, plus that stupid Overwatch one, which it looks like I'm gonna have to fucking add another character to. Because I keep taking forever with that one. I gotta get it out my hair. Because I like this soft brush, and I'm like, oh, that Overwatch would look cool in this. But then I'm like, how long is this shit taking?
Right.
Nah, I may have to let that one go. Later, Yash.
Later. Armando says, yeah, it must be a pain in the ass to draw all the characters. Blizzard is doing a really good job with the game, though.
Yeah, well, it's just plushies for the most part, but it's fucking annoying. Yeah, well, we get into it on loot boxes. In the last Gamecraft. Loot boxes.
All right, now to let that dry. And then fix my mistakes.
Sounds like I had a rough day. Oh, Brandon? No, Brandon
Me?
sounds that way when he draws.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the sound of Brandon drawing.
It's my brain acting in overdrive, trying to not fuck shit up and think about all the times Rob's yelled at me when I fuck up. So it's like, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm
Don't do
told I
that.
should be less snarky. It'd make the show more palatable for the YouTube.
Yeah. I think you bring the right amount of snark.
Put it this way, I can put up with the fucking bullshit on the internet because of my snarkiness. You don't see me caving in because people are like, you fucked up this character on my gaming former cover,
Right. I'm going to wash my brush off. I'll be right back.
I gotta take a break after doing those commissions. No, I don't. Taking enough breaks. Yeah, moving multiple times is not. It's been enough of a break.
And I'm back. There's no such things as breaks.
Yeah, if I sound annoyed, it's just because this shit's taking too long. Brandon see me like I don't get mad because there's work to do, and I'm like, I don't mind if something takes a long time. It's just I know when I know like okay, I don't know at this point if this was worth the trouble for me. You know, like yeah, it looks cool. Would it look just as cool if I had just drawn it? You know what I mean? So, but I know I'm at that point where like if I just go okay, I need to cut my losses and print it out and finish it, it it's not going to save me any more time at that point. You know,
Right.
like
You're in it now.
yeah. Last time I got like this was the Rick and Morty piece, which I ended up doing twice. Right, drew it
Yeah.
traditionally and digitally, colored it traditionally and digitally. I did that piece twice.
Yeah.
The only thing remotely like that was when I did the Predator piece. I had to recreate it,
Oh,
which
yeah, yeah.
Ashley and I talked about tonight on the Art Tips cast. Just coincidentally,
Which is up.
she brought it up. I didn't bring it up. I'm like, oh yeah, the Predator piece. Like, thanks, Ashley. You
Thanks.
know, thanks for reminding me about that.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Mario games. The only one that was kind of interesting to me was the one with the portal gun, but I just like official Mario games. There's some Sonic fan games that are pretty amazing, but I've yet to play one Mario one that was as good as even Mario Land 2. Um, and I don't want 2D versions of my 3D exploration Mario games. The puzzles aren't designed to be in 2D. So it doesn't. How do you explore in 2D really? I mean, I guess Metroid does it, but it's not quite what I go through. And after Mario Maker, I'm a little burnout of fan-made Mario games.
Um, all the Wii U games, they all play on.
No, there's no disc drive.
Oh, oh wait. So everything on Switch is just digital
No, it's got a little ROM
cartridge.
chip. I showed it to you, but see, Brandon doesn't really pay attention when I show him stuff.
You showed me at like
Showed
fucking probably
showed you
like
the
at
game
2 a.m.
cartridge. No, it wasn't at 2 a.m.
or when I just woke up. One of the two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was more interested in you handing it off so I could play. I was like, give me it. I want to play.
The Sonic fans, yeah, the Sonic fan games, have been pretty incredible. And I think part of that's because Sonic is okay with them happening. I think some of the best talent doesn't want to make fan talent out there doesn't want to bother with Mario because they're just going to get taken down,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a shame. Oh, I gotta make sure I'm not overshading this shit too. Part of this is just a learning curve. I've been inking a certain way for years digitally, and this is different.
Right.
So it's just I should have not done this on something that's time sensitive. You know what I mean? Like I should.
That's usually I mean, you say that, but honestly, when I think back to all the times you've tried new techniques, it feels like it's been at times where like it's due the next day, and you're like, you know what? I'm really gonna try this cell shaded way or this lasso tool.
You know why I do that? I'll tell you why I end up doing it. Is because I'm
Uh-huh.
afraid if I don't, I'll just keep saying I'll do it on the next thing. You know what I mean? And then I'll never do it.
Yeah.
That happened to me with watercolor. I spent so long trying to wait for the right thing to do it. 2 years those watercolors sat there at my fucking desk not being used. 2 years, Brandon.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, when is it the right time? You know what I mean? Like, so I know this. If this was coming out horrible, I would just go, guys, I'm gonna need the remainder of the week, and they would just be okay because we have a good relationship.
Right.
So, and they don't have a choice. They can get someone else to do the covers, and then I don't have to do it again. Yeah, I bought those watercolors in 2008, and they sat there till 2010. I remember doing one little Harley Quinn practice piece and showing it off to someone at play, and then not touching it again for 2 years. So I'm like, well, if there's a time to work on stuff, it's probably during project, but you have to pick and choose what project. I mean, it took me a little bit longer than I would have liked on the Anubis cover, but I figured that was where it would take, you know what I mean? I didn't like, oh, this will just continue to take more time.
Right.
Interesting. Interesting. It's not a big deal. Just move past it. what I'll end up doing is once I'm done with these commissions, I'll take one of them I already set up, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then go over it with the pencil brush and see how long does it. See, I need to just sit down with Game Cave and do a version, do a test piece. Okay, let's see how long this actually takes.
Right.
You know, I mean, I've used this before to set up stuff. Like I used it to set up the first version of the brush. I used it to set up the Final Fantasy IX stuff, and then when I went and printed it out, I was like, you know, it's just don't know how much I'm gaining by redrawing. You know, but at
Right.
the same time, when it comes to like all the details and little grits, it's way I don't know. It's tit for tat. Folks. You got to figure out like what you're one, what you're trying to get out of something. Two, what you seem to be good at doing. You know, like you got to gauge what you're responding to. You know. That's why when it goes, oh, this program will be way easier for you. I'm like, how do you know it'll be easier for me? You know, sometimes I don't know. It's, you know, like,
Right. Really not a fan of these Udon covers, these Street Fighter covers, man. Or a lot of the sketch covers. It's rare. There's like maybe 2 or 3 that have been like perfect quality, where it's like good bristle, everything lays good. Like, I mean, you know that you're working on that Wolverine one. That's the Wolverines ones are just bad.
well, all my tests were done on the shitty Marvel covers, so
All
I
right.
know what to expect from that, you know. Really want to know how to search up the archived YouTube. You just go into my videos and search through them. What are you doing? Why do I have to hear that? Mute your mic when whatever it is you're doing right there, where you're blowing and shit. I don't want to hear that.
You sure?
I'm dead serious. I wouldn't joke about this one.
I know.
I can't have you blowing in my ear. I draw the line, Brandon. All right?
Okay. Over the internet or in person?
Ever. In my dreams, my nightmares, whatever. Yeah. Like, you know what, man? I just don't want to hear it. So fucking mute your mic when you're doing that shit.
I'm
right?
going into labor, okay?
Sounds like it, bro. I'm going to have to drive the car backwards to get you to the fucking hospital. You know what I'm saying?
Do it.
Jesus. I'm over here doing the hard shit. Not you don't hear a fucking peep out of me in terms of like, you know what I mean? Like, Jesus.
Adds character. I don't know to what, but
People are going to miss that snarky shit versus the labor pains Brandon fucking goes through every time he makes a piece of art.
I laid down the white highlights, and this cover sucks, so a lot of it didn't sit very well. So then I'm going back over and doing the colored pencils over the spots I need to fix with the black, and then so it breaks away. The
Just
part
start
of
from the top and work down.
Yeah, and I was just blowing off some of the crusty.
It's not that hard. The covers aren't that bad.
Yeah, I was just blowing off some of the white.
You need to go move toward those. I told you to get those Sharpie ones I have. You need to use that.
Right, I didn't have that right now, so I used the white brush.
Don't.
And
go back to the Go to the Sharpies. Take
I
the
will.
$5 you got for this commission and buy the one fucking Sharpie.
I will. I will go buy it. But right now it's too late. It's too late.
I guarantee you, later this week when I start the Darksider shit, I will not be doing it this way. That's for fucking certain. Also, get some WD-40 for your chair. I did.
It's the table. I gotta tighten the screws on it. Dog bumps into it and then it gets all loose, and then I move around on it. So like this noise right here, that's the table.
The James Raw face. I've been doing that face since I was a kid. It's called Muppet face. Jim Henson invented that face. Go look at every Muppet. He used to be called the Nintendo nerd until he got a cease and desist. You know that?
Really?
Back in the day, he was an angry Nintendo nerd. No, not the angry video game nerd. He was originally the angry Nintendo nerd. And they shut that shit down. He used to be on Screw Attack and shit. So then they put him on. And then he changed it to angry video game nerd. Then he started using his name. So he wasn't just known for the angry nerd stuff. He's a good dude. You know, you don't get too many fucking... You don't get any racial shit, racialist as Borat. I rewatched Borat the other day. It still makes me laugh. That guy had balls, bro.
Oh, yeah.
But that's because, like, my family always says I never smile, which, if you think that, you obviously never hang out with me, because, as Brandon would know, I actually spend a lot of time making jokes. You know.
At my expense.
When I'm with you, I'm never making fun of you. Make fun of that fucking chandelier size.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna like...
See, if I made fun of Brandon in person, he has the ability to reach out and choke me to death, like, or like kingpin me, like remember Daredevil season 2?
Just grab you, slam it.
Well, he doesn't fight Daredevil; he just beats him down on that fucking. That's one of the meanest things I've ever seen in a show. Like,
oh yeah, when he just slams his head on the table, you're just like, "Fuck, man."
Yeah.
He's like, I thought your dad was a boxer. It's like, damn, that's fuck cold.
Yeah. It's also because I don't take myself too fucking seriously. I should though. I should punch like the camera, like Jeremy Jones does. You know what I mean? Like do the karate kicks at the camera and
Right.
Whatcha! You know, like, karate chop. You know, you know, I could Hawaiian punch the fucking camera. That would be great.
Yes.
He likes to do that, punching the camera thing. I was always on the receiving end of being hit, so I don't fully understand that maneuver. And I'm a fucking klutz, so I'll end up actually punching my camera one day.
Oh, yeah.
If Brandon's seen it, I'm very not coordinated.
You're pretty good in, like, you're coordinated when it comes to, like, a crisis situation. Like, when we had to deal with that fire at the Phoenix Con, you were like, this way. Like, you just led the way. I was like, all right, I'll follow him.
Oh, you want me in your corner when real shit goes down. Like, if someone started opening up gunfire at the movie theater, you're not going to see me freaking out. I know because I've been under, not in the army, I'm working with my father doing security. I've been under gunfire before, dude. Like, so I know how to deal. But when it comes to like just maneuvering around life, I fuck up all the time. You know, I'm just not good. I'm a total klutz.
That's why I leave the chandelier up. That way it's just like, I know when you come to visit, it's going to get hit.
Yeah.
Where's my...
And I can draw all right, like the eye to hand coordination. That's about it.
I'm going to grab my phone real quick. 1 sec.
Don't seem to find any archive live streams. I don't know what you're talking about. You can't find any archive live streams. Dude, there's 1,000 videos up. Here, I'll show you. Just go to the YouTube channel. Or if you're in SketchCraft Live, which I'll do that now. I'll pause that. Then you just go right into here. Here's all my playlists. All the real-time art videos are organized here in order. Right? It's all the live streams right there under real-time art. There's the podcast. There's the dev blog for Game Cave, Digiscapes, Gamecraft, the old podcast. All right. If you click videos, you know, it comes all here. They're all in here, man. I don't know what that is. So they're all there, man.
All right, he is done. Now on to.
I'm not using Twitch, Armando. I've done it. I don't like it. It doesn't benefit. It's pretty easy to go into the real-time art playlist and find everything right there.
Yeah, and I got it all in there. Like if you go,
and they're in order, man. Because you got to remember too. I don't look. Here's the thing with Twitch. I don't draw these in order. So what happens is you end up with. Let's go right here. Digital inking would be here. Coloring part 1 would be here. Something else, color pencil would be here. Digital inking part 2 would be here. These are all. So when you play them, they're all in order from in which they were created. So Brandon organizes them. So here's the inking, and then it goes all the way down to the coloring, to a new thing. He makes certain anytime they go in there, they get a thumbnail, they get labeled, but they're put in order. And Twitch would not do that.
Right.
You know, they would just archive it, which doesn't mean anything to me. So, and I've tried it, man. It doesn't work. You know.
Yeah. And you'll come across when you're going through the playlist, if maybe 1 or 2 out of order. Sometimes I'll upload maybe like 2 of the inking, and then eventually the color. But eventually I get them all organized and slowly just.
And we dole them out because what happens too is, you know, is I stream, right? But what happens is if you don't upload things too, like you guys will stop getting notifications if I stop like making things available every day. So even when I'm not streaming, we're posting videos. You know, so I can like withhold the posting until, you know. So there are always things being added. So, but Twitch has an inherent problem, man, and that's Twitch becomes a fucking game show. You know, it becomes a game show where you go on there and everyone wants to come in and tell you what to draw, and there's going to be prizes, and it's not a fucking game show. I don't even win anything by half this fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is the closest thing to my life I'm putting out there. So when I'm old, I can go, well, that's how I spend my life. There's all the fucking hours, you know, right there.
Yes.
You know, we don't win prizes here. You know, the prize you win, you get better. If you pay attention and you apply, you will get better. Brandon's gotten better. If Brandon can get better, anyone can get better. Trust me on that one.
That is the truth.
He was in poor fucking shape artistically when I met him. It was tough, dude. All of his friends were telling him he was good too. That's exactly what it was like. You were close to crying one night, dude. I remember.
Oh yeah. No, there was a night after con, and I don't mind bringing it up, you know, where I had a really good con the year before where I made like, I think it was the one where, you know, you didn't do very well and I made like a couple grand. It It was like
Yeah.
I was fucking just balling. I was like, fuck yeah, I think that's when I got the Xbox One or whatever the fuck it was ever out. I got new system, I paid off some bills. I was like, fuck yeah. Next year, fucking nothing. The whole year sucked. That con was horrible. And I drove to the gas station and like I just got 2 Hershey bars and I was like, this fucking sucks. And I called you and I said, hey man, I suck. I know it.
Well, I told you you were living in a bubble and you've been successful, but at some point it will stop because I felt that the people buying your stuff were doing it to support you, and those people will stop buying things at some point.
Right.
That was what I told you happened. I felt would happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened?
It happened.
And they've never come back.
Right.
You've never done that money ever again, and it's not that, anything changed in terms of you. It's just, that's all it was. And so what happens is, I was telling Brandon earlier, we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and we all get our, if you have 15 minutes of fame, prepare for 50 minutes of misfortune. Everyone's going to have some misfortune in their art lives, you know what I mean? Guarantee everybody. And when it happens, if they aren't prepared, to read why that is or what to do about it, they've always been successful, they're going to fucking freak out. You've seen some artists. You have artists that just freak out on the internet when shit ain't going their way.
Right.
I mean, and this isn't a laughing matter. This can be very scary. There's some I don't want to say names because it's going to open up trouble, but there have been some professional artists that I've grown up with that have gone through some hard times the last few years artistically because they've always just did whatever they were going to do, and that's all they had to do. And one day it stopped because, giant, bigger talent pool. Maybe they haven't been on many high-profile projects in a while. They never knew how to hustle commissions or whatever. And there have been suicide-like fucking watches for certain artists that have gone on YouTube or Facebook or whatever and just been like, they don't know what to do. They're thinking about giving up, like on life. And I always look at that like, damn, dude, they never like really learned how to prepare for serious catastrophic failure with the art, and it had nothing to do with their talent. They're just as talented as they always were. But, like economics are fluid, man,
Yeah.
Definitely picked up a ton of tips watching. It's a real one. And it's going to happen to, I've gone through mine, and I'll go through more. Like, I'm not doing great right now. I'm not doing poor. I'm like in, neutral zone right now. But there's going to be some shit, and no one talks about it, man. They all just want to talk, well, it's not motivating. Fuck, it's not motivating when life happens. And if someone isn't out there saying it's normal, not normal what happened, but that going through that's going to be normal. And here's the things you can do to deal with it. If there's any fucking legacy I have is that conversation starts, really, I'm one of the few to start years ago. When I to the point, folks, I have a lot of friends who are famous artists. I've had to try to have them on podcasts as far back as almost 10 years ago, dude. Yeah. And they won't do it because, like, if I talk about anything negative, it's going to affect my stuff. And I'm like, not doing it's going to fucking, dude. And I don't want to say throw names out and get yourself in trouble, but let's talk about experiences so people know, this is normal, like, to an extent. And sometimes it's not normal. Sometimes you're like, dude, that's totally fucking random shit luck right there. Like there's no reason for it. I don't mean to cut you off. What are you going to say, Brandon?
No. I totally agree. Like it's, when I tell people the stuff that's happened, we've talked about that's happened to me and everything, people tell me like, hey, I like hearing that because it happens. If I told you, oh, everything's fucking great, perfect. I went to California. I didn't like the job, so I quit. It's like, no, we tell people, I wasn't qualified, I wasn't ready, and it just fucking fell apart, and it happens. And a lot of people can't just admit that sometimes shit doesn't work out, and you just got to bounce back from it. And then, like right now, I'm at a place where, I don't have 800 commissions, and I'm not doing any published work, but I got people have bought my sketch covers that I put up for sale, and they liked them so much they want more commissions. I got a guy right now on Instagram, he just picked up 3 commissions. So I'm doing 2 Street Fighters and a Mega Man X. And that's good for me. Like, I'm happy with that because I probably couldn't handle more than that. I can barely handle that because I'm trying to be better. And most people are like, oh, you only have 3 commissions? That's fucking nothing. I'm like, that's fucking great for me.
But if you weren't doing the commissions right now when you're off work, what would you be doing? Probably trying to find a second job.
Hey.
So what you're doing is you're turning this into supplemental income. What I like to call this for people who aren't doing it full time, right? And most people aren't doing it full time. And when you are
No.
doing it full time, you're not making a lot of money. Most people, they're
Right.
they're averaging like $20,000-$30,000 a year. That's a fact. But if you have a normal job and you're like, man, I would love a raise, and they won't give you a certain, when you're at a job, they'll only give you what, like a certain percentage every year if you're within the company,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you're within a company, you're capped at a certain amount you can get an increase in a raise every year because those are most company rules. They sort of benefit people leaving to go to their competition. It's fucking stupid. So if you
Right.
got a new hire, they would give them a real rate, but you're never going to get that rate. You have to leave. This allows you to get that fucking money back and not have to fucking go hunting for a new job every 2 years and then have to explain to every new employer why you leave after 2 years. Every job,
Right.
right? That's what happened to me in t-shirts. They started looking at me. How come you're always at a different t-shirt company? I'm like, well, they're not paying very well, guys. Like, and you're there for so long, and new hires are getting twice what you're getting, but they're not gonna. Even though you're the highest selling dude there, and I was always in the top 2 or 3 people at a company. I was never the top one because Ray will always kick my ass. Ray was my whole art director. He was always number
Uh,
one. Ray's the fucking Jim Lee of t-shirts. Like you just
yeah.
don't know him, and I can. If you bought any comic book t-shirt in the last 20 years, Ray had something to do with it, one way or another. He had to train the person who did it. He came up with the idea that was then knocked off. Like, he's the fucking Jim Lee. No one knows who this dude is. I
Right.
will never outsell Ray. It's like if you were fucking working at Wildstorm, even if you're Travis Cherish, you're not outselling Jim Lee. Like, fucking Jim Lee's Jim Lee, period. So, that being said, I was always in the top 3. And fucking new hires would get more than me because they're new hires. So then you go to the next company and they want to know, well, you guys, like it sucks, but art could always supplement that. Now, yeah, you got to come home and work, but I mean, for real, dude, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I get to see everything, right, Brandon? I see Stranger Things, Food Wars, Attack on Titan. I watch it when I eat dinner, and you
Right.
know what I mean. And I've always had like two. It's only the past couple of years I've only been doing this, but
Yeah.
I've always had 2 jobs. Always had full time, working hard at work, coming home, getting less sleep, making shit. But that's how I paid off all my stuff.
Right.
Those
But like,
millennials use their photo. Well, I don't think they're using Photoshop. I would say those millennials are using their manga studio. Photoshop seems to be an older guy thing. You were saying, Brendan?
oh yeah, I mean, that's how I get by, and that's what I like. I work my day job all day. I come home, maybe a couple times a week. I'll go hit the gym. I make dinner. I watch my shows when I have dinner. Then I get on. I either work on the thumbnails for your cast, or we're on the cast like right now streaming, and I'm making art. I'll stay up
Well,
for
that's the trade-off I get for
3-4
helping
hours a
you,
night.
right?
Right.
Is you got to help post all the thumbnails and stuff for the cast. Save me fucking some time.
Right. Which
Mm.
is fine. I
Manga
have no problem.
Manga Studio really good. A lot of people like to use it. I don't. Doesn't benefit me. Whatever Manga Studio does, I already do. So
I
you
do
know,
Clip Studio.
it's
Same
Manga
thing, right?
Studio. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Brandon uses it. It definitely helps him.
Helps me with my smooth and thick line. Helps me smooth out my lines, and also thick and thin that I don't have as good enough hand inking with. So
But I've been using Photoshop since 1995. So it's what I know. See, when I say like, I know Photoshop, it's like, oh, I've been using it a long time. I remember when they just
you could teach
added.
a class.
I remember. I remember when they just added lens flares. And I was like, lens flare. I was scanning all my spawn covers, adding lens flares to everything. I was like, lens flares. Yeah, it's fun. Later, Armando.
Later.
Now there is a whole audience on Twitch. I'm not, tapping. It's a problem, and I'm thinking about ways to deal with it, but it's not going anywhere either. I'm not gonna. Doesn't matter if I start today, tomorrow, a year from now. I'm not gonna fucking be super uber fucking popular on that channel no matter what I do, you know. So, but I will. I have a sketch. I have the SketchCraft Twitch channel. So I just every time I go there, I'm like, I got to figure out a better thing. How long have I been in the industry? Professionally since 2004. I've been doing it full time since 2004. But I started learning Photoshop in high school. And then I personally bought it in 1999. But I sucked at art for a long time. Long time.
The program didn't automatically make you better?
Yeah, I know. It didn't come with talent. You know, it was on the box, but I didn't, you know, it's randomly inserted into specially marked packages. Why didn't come with it?
All right, now I can move on to Sagat.
Yeah, it's a big community, and you know, man, guys, I just, you know, it's one fucking thing after another. I have an idea for it, but we'll see where it goes. But I'm not doing the game show fucking thing, you know. You know, it's like I just don't care. You know, I have limits.
Correct.
I have limits. I don't like in art departments when people go, let's have an art off. You know, like it's fucking, it's like, remember that episode of South Park where they did the fucking, so you think you can dance jam or whatever?
Yeah.
You know, they'll have that. It's like
Yeah.
David S. Pumpkins and shit, you know? Is this better battle? It's from a video game called Berserk, which I'm pretty certain Joe Mad was influenced by. The manga in the anime came out in 99, 97. Like about a year before. And I love me some Battle Chasers, folks. I supported the Kickstarter. And I've been
Me too.
reading it since the day it came out.
Hell yeah.
I was at San Diego Con when it debuted, motherfucker. Yeah. Do 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 do. Like I guarantee you, if this were like had to get approved by the people who run this, they would never approve this. Never.
Because of the look or because of the brush? Or...
No, the look. The hair isn't 100% like his because I don't like certain things. I'm like, I don't like the way the hair works. I'm changing that. They changed the gun a little bit, you know, shit like that. Like they freak out, you know. Like I would have to basically trace one of the faces from the manga or something, or from the game to make it work for like official licensing. It happened on the Mega Man thing I did. Capcom. I didn't know it was supposed to. I was working with this publisher, and I thought it was just for them. And it turns out like my work had to get approved by Capcom, and they're like, "We don't like the face. No, 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 no. You know, he looks too old." I'm like, "He's called Mega Man, motherfucker." You know, like, so. You know, it's one of those things where I had to like go and basically trace over a Mega Man face that they fucking had approved, which is really fucking annoying. You like doing future iterations of characters? What do you mean? Future iterations? Like Age of Apocalypse Wolverine versus Classic Wolverine? Is that what you mean?
I don't know. Like maybe your own interpretations of what they would look like now? I mean, I don't know. Please explain.
Need more input. Like my take on how they look in the future. I've done that for a while. Yeah, I've done that before. I've done that so much that I actually pitched the Black Spider-Man almost 2 years before it came out, to a Marvel writer. Even right down with Donald Glover playing him. And they told me Marvel would never go for it.
So
I'll show you this one. I'll show you this. This is a while ago. I'll bring up the Deviant. This is a long time ago. Spider. Oh, great. It'd be great if it searched my gallery, huh?
Right.
Spider. Shit.
You gotta click it right there. Yeah, there you go.
Let's go to design. Scroll down. Gotta go way back to the Wayback Machine. Way back. I know, right? Way further back. This is like a time machine for me. No, it's way back. Remember, I typed in spider. I tried to do the fast way.
All right.
It didn't want to take. Shit, where is it? That would be something to show. Nope. Nope. Where is this motherfucking thing? It's way back. I'm still scrolling. Here we go. So I did these. This I posted September 1st, 2010, over almost 2 years before he was created. Like this guy goes, this is supposed to be Miles Morales. He misspelled it. I'm like, so I pitched this to Kevin Grevioux, who was writing at Marvel at the time on Thor and the Blue Marvel book, right, which is like sort of like the black take on Superman or whatever at Marvel. And I was like, hey, wouldn't it be great if Donald Glover, because he was like, talking about Spider-Man at the time. I'm like, you could pitch it as like a rebirth of like Spidey in the inner city, and what if he was like super poor and in the ghetto and fucking went to like, super prep school and shit, like that would put the class thing. And I was like, I had this cool idea for using like the Ben Reilly thing, but when it would wrap around, it would invert and cut out the red fucking symbol. So like it inverts. Anyhow, and even to like ease his ego, I was like, and you could be Venom, haha, right? So he told me Marvel would never go for it. This was interesting. I pitched this also. I sketched this little Dr. Octopus. I thought it'd be great as a paraplegic, and he could use the tentacles to walk, which I think Ramos did like a couple years later, dude. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, folks. And look, you can go look at the fucking date, September 1st, 2010. Which I was like, I wonder what the odds of all that are, folks. So I was doing a lot of these little sketches. This is 2008. There's a little Batman little sketch I was doing. Different take on armors and stuff, 2008. So, a long time ago. Even some weird ones, like this super, like, S&M version of Catwoman sketch, 2008. Here's my sketch of Superman. This looks awfully familiar. now, 2008. So, you know, retro Flash. Yeah, and when it came out, I'm like, really, Kevin? And he's like, well, I guess you called it. I'm like, call it. I always call it. Like, you know, like I told him too. Weird part is I said, Kevin, I really think you should do it because if you don't, eventually they're gonna do it, and what fucking Bendis will end up writing it or something. And I really think if they're gonna have a black character, that a black man, a guy who's gone, should be the one, not another white dude. Like I told him that. And who ended up fucking writing Miles Morales?
Bendis.
Right down to the fucking talent, bro. You know? Which was weird because he has all these books, right? Not like Kevin, but he has all
Mhm.
these books that are like Fantastic Four, but they're black. And I'm like, okay, is there more? You know, because I don't understand what makes that different, you know, unless they
Mhm.
were like, maybe they're super poor and, you know, he's like a genius, but what do you do then? You know what I mean? Like, interesting take. I said, here's your chance, dude, to fucking, don't, I said, I don't even want to draw it. Get LaShawn or someone to fucking do it. It'd be amazing. You know, I just think it should happen.
Yeah.
Influence the future. Who knows? Who knows, guys? You know? Do. Want to start with the plushie thing? All I know is this, folks. When I go to cons, Brandon's experienced this. A lot of pros know who I am, yet I don't know them. You know what I mean? Like, right, Brandon? How many times have you sat and
Yeah.
like, oh, I know you, and then I'm like, well, then why aren't we fucking doing shit together?
Right.
You know? So my work gets seen. I just don't reap the benefits of it. You know?
That is true.
That's true. Absolutely true. Like, whatever. Fine.
I'm gonna have to hop off. I gotta get my lunches ready and stuff.
It's early.
It's 11.
Oh no, our time changed.
What time is it there?
Oh, now it's 10:55.
Yeah.
I'm used to my
Yeah.
clock saying midnight.
Ah.
So Brandon's gonna go.
Yeah. Gotta get ready for that wonderful day job and the week. All right. Talk to you tomorrow.
Yep.
All right. Later, everybody. Have a good night, bots.
Right. What are some of my favorite childhood cartoons? Well, I grew up in the 80s and there weren't a lot of great cartoons. I mean, there were like properties that were cool. Like Transformers was one of the ones that I liked a lot. Not a great cartoon, but you know, awesome toys and shit. I really enjoyed watching Robotech, even though I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And I liked Voltron, but um, I admit the Japanese original edits are way better. I think the best cartoon from my childhood actually is the real Ghostbusters. I think there's actually a pretty good cartoon there, all things considered. And then cartoons didn't get good again over here, in my opinion, until Tiny Toons and Batman the Animated, and then Animaniacs. Like there was that resurgence in the '90s. Ren and Stimpy, you know. And DuckTales, but that's I was already in high school by the time a lot of junior high and high school by the time that came out, so I wouldn't say it's entirely my childhood. Yeah, we all did, but it's really because the toys were awesome. The cartoon was, it was better than a lot of other shit that was on. But in terms of a cartoon I enjoyed watching, I'd say Real Ghostbusters is probably the one that holds up the most from that era. And I have a personal love of like some of the British cartoons I thought were really good too back in the day. So like I grew up, so like Danger Mouse, Count Duckula, those were pretty cool. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's much later. Did I ever get into D&D? I wanted to, but my mom at the time was like, when I was younger, my mom said it was fucking all about worshiping Satan and shit and wouldn't let me fucking do it. Um, but when West End Games came out with their Star Wars role-playing game, then I was able to do that, you know, because it was Star Wars. I mean, my mom wasn't really in my life, but, you know, she'd bitch and my dad would be like, oh, shit's for fucking, we're devil worshippers and shit. I'm like, all right, Dad. My dad like worked at a strip club, but I'm like, okay, Dad. Oh, there was a whole thing with D&D in the '80s about being Satanists, and there was this whole there's a whole thing too about how they never proved that that shit ever actually existed. But there was this whole belief at the time that it was about like Satanism and nonsense, and there were hidden lyrics in Metallica albums, and they would turn you into the fucking into Ted Bundy and shit like that. Am I going to play Xenoblade? I'll rent it on my GameFly. I'm not gonna buy it. Might have to switch to that GameStop rental service though. We'll see. I'm more interested in that racing game that was announced, Onrush or whatever it's called, from the guys from the Motorstorm dudes working over at Codemasters. We'll see if it lives up to what they say it is. It looks good on paper, but the reality of dealing with GameStop is always, you know, that's the problem I have is you can never really trust that that's going to be the experience you have working with them. So, yeah, I love over the top racing. I hear you, except Game Informer did pay me money this year. But yeah, they do suck. I don't like the idea that they sell new games used, right? Like that's fucking ridiculous. But using those all those games they got lying around to rent out is pretty smart. And if they're going to do it much cheaper than GameFly, then you know, and if it's true you get to keep one, then I just don't see the point of sticking with the GameFly. But like I said, there's what they say and what they do are two different things, right? So I gotta wait. Yeah, they just announced it last week, so So I remember I bought in a stack of 50-something games. Yeah, I mean, look, that whole returning games for stuff has never been, a really good trade-off. So I don't do it. I've always been about giving away my games, honestly. Like to friends or whatever charity or whatever. Yeah, you get a better tax write-off that way. But at the same time, I grew up being able to rent video games, and that I believe in that. So. Probably don't have to. I'm with you. It seems overdue. I wonder if it has to do with that art director who committed suicide with his wife a few years back. Can't. I don't know. Gotta wonder. Yeah. He's the one that came with that whole like vector kind of like look. Yeah, it's tragic. What's the oldest TV show I can remember? I don't know. Honeymooners. Remember watching on TV or ever made? I mean, the first TV show I remember watching was The Muppet Show. The Muppets. Around 80, 81. I watched all the old. I grew up watching. My uncle had this. My uncle like never left the 50s, so I grew up like he watched me a lot, and I was only allowed to watch shows from the 50s whenever I was at his place. So in the 40s and the 30s, the Honeymooners, from the Honeymooners on up, you know, Howdy Doody, fucking Gunsmoke, fucking all that shit. Adam 12, all the Twilight Zones. Now the Twilight Zones were always cool. Like that I could get into. He definitely wouldn't let me watch a Knight Rider. My dad would. He didn't care. Yeah, they weren't into movies. My uncle did refuse to own a VCR, and my dad did, but he didn't like old movies. He only liked new things. So it wasn't until uh, later on, like with the Turner Classic Movies and stuff, I could watch like Kurosawa films and shit like that, which I always got into. The minute I found out Star Wars, was based off Kurosawa films and shit, I watched every samurai movie I could get my hands on. Oh yeah, I like watching the old. I got like all those. I like those torrents that like record things as they were off people's tapes and stuff. So like I like the Mystery Science Theaters because they still have all the little Comedy Central stuff on there, and all the bumpers and the credits and the commercials and stuff. What would I attribute to getting so skilled in art? Construction more than anything. And I spent years just working on those basics, you know, not drawing hot chicks or Batman or anything, just really working on the basics. you know. A lot of my friends that I grew up with art, you know, who are working professionally, spend a lot of their time just drawing hot chicks and superheroes and stuff, and I spend all my time, you know, practicing lines and doing construction and drawing from center. And, you know, used to kind of, I won't say they clown me at the time, but I was definitely getting razzed for not doing more, you know, but they sort of peaked. They haven't improved. And I think if you've looked at my art portfolio, every year I have gotten better and better and better and better. And that's because every year I go back and I still do refreshers and I take my time and, you know, and I constantly apply construction and, you know, think about the lighting and the value and the shape design, you know. And I probably could produce more art if I didn't do that, but I wonder, I'd probably be producing worse art overall, you know. Especially like with the coloring. I mean, like this is the Game Informer cover, right? That I did in June, right? So let me try to explain something. Like, let's go all the way back to my DeviantArt page. Like, this was the best I could do for coloring. I'll show you. This was the best I could do in coloring in 2005. I did this Batman Begins as an animated series pinup. 2005. And then this was like a year later with Mosaic. And this took forever for me to do, you know? And, you know, I never could have done, even as much as a year ago, like, if you look at, like, I didn't even do the coloring on this stuff. Couldn't even color my own pages. Didn't do any of the coloring on my own work. This I did. That came out all right. But this took a lot more effort. This took longer to do and color than this. So, and that just comes from just like, you know, carving out shapes, working on the lighting, constantly working at it. Hot chicks, sinus cells, and it sucks. Well, you know what's fucking weird about it, dude? Let me tell you, because this is a good place to say this without getting myself into too much trouble. Is I really feel like you're fucking damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You know, if you draw hot chicks, you know, yeah, I paint with watercolor. I'll like, let me show this really quick and then. Like here, right? That's all watercolor. That's all watercolor. So here's the thing, right? If you draw hot chicks, you know, like, yeah, you know, you're gonna get a lot of attention and sell stuff and whatever. But then, you know, you got the other half of the art community who's like, all he does is exploit the images of women. You know, you got the social justice fucking whatever's coming after you for drawing it. You know, and it's like, you know, man, it's just like this is as hot as I go, you know? Like I just don't draw half nudes, you know? That's just what I don't do. And it's not that I have a problem with nude women, man. You know, like I'm quite also, you know. It's just I just don't want I'm not into the erotic art scene. I never have been. It's just not my thing. I like Witchblade and Danger Girl, but you know what I'm saying? Like just the erotic art scene, it's just not my game. So, you know, I don't want the trouble. I did some pieces once for because Girls of Gaming had this adult only version that they did through directtodrive.com back in the day. And so I did these nude versions of the Battletoads chick and the Mirror's Edge chick for the magazine and fucking never got it. They're not good. But lots of women artists draw skimpy. It's kind of even out. Yeah, whatever. It's just it's just it's just it's one of those things that And people going, I lost faith in you. You know, you're just starting to become like another Reek or whatever his name is, Reich. I don't fucking know, guys. I like to draw fun shit. You know, if it's a cute chick, if it's a hot dude, I don't give. I like stylized proportions and shit. But I'm not gonna sit around drawing fucking chicks sucking on lollipops and shit because I don't give a flying fuck. You know, it's not how I view the world. You know, it's just not. That's not all there is to life, and it never has been. Like my buddies always did that. You know, so I was always just like wanting to draw like Ninja Turtles and shit. You know, if April looked hot, cool, but that wasn't the point was to make her having sex with one of the turtles and shit. It was just oh she looks hot. In the same way that you know Casey Jones has muscles and shit. I'm fine with that, but hyper I like a little playtime. I like like Angela, Red Monica's cool. But she also has to have something to her. You know what I mean? Like she's got to do some shit. Like. But when it's just going to be like, oh, I'm just going to take every fucking thing. I'm going to take Teddy Ruxpin and give him a giant pecker. It's like, all right, well, you can do that. I just don't want to live that life. There's a lot of things I could do. I don't think everything should be about sex. It's just how I am. I will be doing a Battle Chasers piece after Power Prince is done. I couldn't figure out how to do it without making a 2-page piece, and I just couldn't add it to the list. So once all the Power Prince is done, sometime between I don't know, sometime around January, with the way shit's been going, then it's on my list. But no hurry, you know, it'll get done in the next year. Yeah, I like cute chicks. I like drawing it. I mean, I just like it's like Tom. Like I don't mind drawing. Look, she's cute, right? But where I sort of fucking draw the line, and I've told Tom this before, with these penny for your soul covers, is I'm not drawing fucking the 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 broads on the stripper poles and shit, which I've done before. Like if we go back in time, the last cover I did for him I stopped doing them for like 3 years. Is I don't feel like drawing stripper pole chicks, dude. Like I just don't. I don't want to do it, man. I'm not into doing all. I don't know if I dig through this shit. Where is it? Penny, 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 penny. It's way, but wow, I don't know, I really did give that up for a while. Yeah, sometimes even I forget how long I stopped doing shit for. Um, like that was all right. This one I hated. Where is it? This was so so this one he wanted. At the time I was doing. Let me close this. At the time I did this. Like even this one was fucking a pain in the ass. Like I did this one, which I enjoyed, and I gave her these little minions and shit. But he's like, I want them at the table blowing on dice and shit. And I'm just like, oh, I mean, like I made that one look better, but this fucking thing I hated. I just don't care, man. And I did this different version of it that never got published, and you could see all the other Big Dog Ink covers showing up. So yeah, look, I've drawn it, right? This, but I don't care, you know. Any tips for making robotic hard surface things? I don't know. Draw three-dimensionally, you know? I mean, and then when you add tick marks, you just add it on the surface the way it bends around and stuff. I could say when you go to render it in color, you know, you can add little chisel lines and shit. My style's fairly 1997 in high def, you know, like you ever wonder if I'm not bigger because I'm not pandering to the horny teens? Possibly, you know, but then I guess I'm destined to never be bigger, right? You know, I guess that's just the way it works, you know. I've had to work in trend in t-shirts for so many years that I just can't do it with my own art, you know. And I think it's a temporary thing, you know. It'll all flip like anything else does. And maybe not. Who knows? Who knows? I try not to think about why I'm not, you know, whatever it is. Sometimes you're just not going to be popular, you know? I learned that one in high school. Like, you know, no matter what I do, I may not be popular, but I'm the guy who gets shit done. Because, like, fucking, I ran for publicity when I was in high school, you know, and they wouldn't back me, the ASB. You know, they said we can't endorse people running, but they endorsed their friend who was running, and she won, and she didn't do shit. And then they came back and asked me if I would take over the duties later. I'm like, no, I won't because you didn't fucking, you weren't there to support me, so you're stuck with her. Fuck you. You know. So, what's the experience of T-shirts? Uh, it's a lot more like being a chef than being an artist. You know, you take elements, you rearrange them. You got to have absolutely zero attachment to your work, and whatever T-shirts get made on the internet don't actually sell in real life. You know, they sell in the hundreds, not the tens of thousands. So when you're like, oh, that T-shirt looks great, like on Design Tees, they don't actually sell at Walmart and shit, and Target to the mass audiences. So I made T-shirts for major companies and all the big brands and licenses. And what sells on Modifine.com doesn't sell at Kohl's in the numbers that you would think they would need to. You know, and I've worked with them. So there's just two. There's the internet world and there's the real world, right? And they are different. You know, and you got to be able to like, you know, during lunch work on Curious George, and then after lunch work on fucking uh, Fast and the Furious, you know. And all t-shirt artists look the same, so never post your t-shirt art, you know. It's not my t-shirt art that gets me t-shirt work, it's all this other shit. Sometimes I think guys shy away from drawing skin pierced women that their girlfriend and mom will complain. I don't know about that. I got plenty of friends whose girls and moms are the, you know, well, girls definitely girlfriends. They actually, the time they're half the time. I know guys that half the time are just drawing their girlfriends as the skimpy chicks. Really, when you look at the faces and stuff. I mean, definitely not their mother. Hey man, I like, you know, like I said, I grew up reading my two favorite spawns when I was a kid. My two favorite comic books when I was a kid was Spawn and Bone. You know, and both have their place. So my art style is somewhere between that sensibility, somewhere between you know, high quality Disney cartoon and sort of pop art, you know, pop pinup, you know. Um, but you know, there is a big difference between Capullo drawing Angela and Jim Balent drawing fucking Catwoman, you know. And Jim Balin's work was always like pandering to an audience that wasn't me, you know. So I've never been that dude, you know. I think that I can make a woman, I can draw a sexy chick, but make her have some strength too, you know. I always felt Joe Matt was good at doing that. You know, Blink was sexy, but not fucking sucking on fucking lollipops and shit. And you know, like there's just a difference. You're like, I don't know. Do you have like a social media work? This would be the only place to do it. I don't type. But I'm everywhere, man. I'm on Twitter, you know, Facebook, all that stuff. Go to sketchcraft.com. All my links are there to everything I'm at. Like sketchcraft.com. And then right here are all the links to everything. But this is the real place to talk because I can just talk, you know. It's better when it's buried here on a podcast like this, a live stream. Anyhow, it's harder for them to fucking pick it out and take my words out of context. Try to get me in trouble. He said you can't draw scantily clad women because that's, you know, lewd. He's body shaming. Next post. He's only drawing scantily clad women. He's body shaming. You know what I mean? He's setting up a what's the word I'm thinking of? Like a irresponsible expectation that only women can, you know, you can never fucking win with these people. You know? Politicizing every fucking thing. You're fucked no matter what you do. Do I make tutorials? I do art tips. I prefer that. If you have a specific thing, I'll make an art tip. Problem with tutorials are they don't really help you problem solve. They just, you know, here's like how to draw Batman's head doesn't really help you draw Batman's head. What happens if the client says, I don't like the way you drew it? Then what? You know? So, I did some tutorials for like Imagine FX and they fucking always suck. There's always some holes missing somewhere. You know? I wish it was that, Zix. It's not. It's multi-sided. Both sides are, you know, everyone's fucking, it's an argument I've been hearing all my life. Here's the thing. When I was a kid in high school, there was this book called Boiled Angels. Made the news headlines because it helped fund this thing called the Comic Legal Defense Fund. And there's this guy who did this 18 and over book called Boiled Angels that had hardcore weird sex shit going on in there. Wasn't even drawn very well. And he sold it through mail order. And someone's mom found it and fucking hated on the guy. Got him arrested. And a judge in Florida ordered that everything he drew had to be monitored and approved of. Anything he drew. You know? There's nothing new about it. Go back to the Renaissance and see what they were fucking, you know. Go back anywhere and you can find this fucking nonsense, you know? There's always been this fucking, you know, what are they drawing? It's too much. Oh, it's good ruining society. You know? Like remember how the hot coffee mod was supposed to be wrecking homes and children? Show me the victims of the hot coffee mod. Doesn't fucking exist, you know? And Frank Cho, dude. Frank Cho's been drawing things forever, and it's just like all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, this is fucking hilarious. This is horrible." Like, meanwhile, what about Olivia, dude? Like when they go, "Oh, women don't draw that way," I'm like, my ass, watch Olivia artist. You know, every stripper I ever knew had her art. Born in 1948, 1948, Olivia de Bardin. Look at her shit. You know, born in 1948, man. You know. Like probably invented the fucking modern cheesecake art that we know. You know, they never bring that shit up. And I guarantee you, if she were fucking born today, she'd be drawing shit like, you know, fucking Catwoman instead of Betty Page or whatever. You know? So they don't know their own art history. They just don't know their history. They're just talking out their ass because it's easier to tear some shit down than it is to make some shit. Always has been. Nothing new about this. You know? Nothing new about this. It's like all those fucking assholes who made fun of me for going to Comic-Con when I was, in high school are now wondering how come. They're making fun of me for not going to Comic-Con because they're going. And I'm like, because it's not for me. Why? Because you're there. That's why. You know? So here's where I'm at. I got told recently from a publisher I can't draw chicks with chunky legs because they don't sell. Then I said, then don't hire me. You know? Yeah, he's always done tongue-in-cheek humor, man. Go read Liberty Meadows. I've been reading it since the day I bought Liberty Meadows, 1999, 2000, when he first started collecting those strips, you know? It's always been satire. Nothing new about this. But they just, there's a bunch of people that they're just fans come lately, dude. Like they're just saying whatever they're saying, whatever. Did they still hire you? Not since, no. No. Not since, no. And I'm a team player, but I get to the point where I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. You know? Not that I want every fucking character I draw to have chunky legs. It's just a point of contention. And I'm like, maybe your audience doesn't, but maybe there's another audience out there that you haven't tapped into yet, you know? And perhaps I'm the guy to help bridge that gap, Like, because I just always feel like I've always been ahead of the curve on things, but I just didn't do those things because it was like, oh, they don't want it. And then eventually it becomes popular. And I'm like, oh, well, fuck it. I'll just weather the storm at this point. Some audience out there likes this stuff, There's plenty of girls I've seen at Comic-Con that don't have the thinnest legs, man. They'll buy it. How about that, fucker? I don't have giant muscles, man. Like it's like it's like when I started Game Cave, I was drawing, you know, these characters. Case in point, right? Like when I first started working on Game Cave and creating that, I was drawing 4 years ago. So you can see, right? So, you know, my own characters, putting all these different items on them, drawing all the games and the plushies and shit and the giant controllers. And then over the course of 4 years, and I was told it's too much stuff. You can't see what's going on. The lighting's all over the place. Which, by the way, it's overlit because that's the way they actually used to do shit in comics. But I don't want to get into it. And then now I've been able to, 4 years later, do the Game Informer cover and make that like an industry. Like, look, now that's fucking an industry fucking book. So, you can influence. Like, and then just wait till a bunch of other people who've seen that cover start doing it too. You know. I'm sure at some point someone will ask me to draw that as a commission. One thing's for certain, I'll draw traditionally. This is just fucking taking too long. These giant characters I draw traditionally from now on. It'd be done by now. Am I hyped for the future of art? I don't even know what that means. VR art and stuff? I don't know, man. You know, I kind of focus on what I'm doing now. You know, like what I'll make. And I'll keep my shit relatively old school as trends come and go. You know, it's like all this digital painting. I just think it all looks the same. You know, it's like really good for studio art, but for me, I just. Is there any trend you hopped on? On T-shirts, I've had to do every trend there is. For me and my personal art, nope, don't care. Well, I have had to, yeah. I've had to have been the last few years. I've tried to just unify those lives, you know. But there's no way around it, you know. If you're getting paid to make art, you get paid to make whatever they want you to. You know, there's no way you can get around that. That being said, when I'm making my own stuff, then I do whatever I want, and I am just not influenced by, you know, blogs and sites and the latest app and, you know. Fact of the matter is, I'm just not that good when you get down to it. So there's so many basic things that I have yet to get down, you know, that I could spend the rest of my life just focusing on that and never really reaching, you know, full potential. Yeah, that's basically what my life was like, you know. These days I'm not doing any t-shirt work, but that's what it's like. All right, I'm not gonna add a ton of detail to this sword. I'm just gonna do some thick and thin, put a little of these marks, and then move on to this leg. But what I'm gonna do right now is take a quick break because it's been about 2 hours, and I'm gonna go make me some coffee. So let's just go ahead and save. Yeah, it's not a trend. Graffiti been around a long time. Look, here's my thing with art, guys. Okay. Um, Focus on the basics. Use those basics to improve the thing you want to spend your hours doing. You know, what you want. Like, the only person I'm trying to impress is 15-year-old Rob, the 15-year-old version of me. I had very specific, like, tastes and things that I loved about art when I was 15. I'm just trying to be able to live up to that kid's fucking expectations, you know? That's it. You know, and then try to improve upon that process, whatever I did as I go along. So, you know, doesn't take as much time as it did the time before that. That's my personal goal, you know. If I get to be popular or whatever because of it, great. If not, whatever. There's nothing I can do about that. But if you're trying to do something because you think that's the popular thing to do, like if you're like, I'm gonna draw portraits of people because that's what's blowing up on Instagram, good fucking luck. You're just gonna waste your life doing things you hate doing. You know? If you don't have the passion for it, don't fucking do it. Because there's plenty of passionless things you can do with your life that don't involve hundreds of hours of you sitting in your room working on that shit. You know? You want to do some passionless shit, go fucking, be the greeter at Walmart, whatever, make the bread at Subway. You'll make better money, like statistically speaking. So, do I ever do that white outline? Yeah, I've done white outlines plenty of times, man. So, third round is a joke on the current level. I wouldn't worry about who's above you. I would just focus on trying to get better at what you're trying to do. You compete with yourself, man. At the end of the day, you compete with yourself. You're only as good as the last thing you did. See what this looks like without the tint? Boom. I like the tint. I don't see in black and white. Isn't that weird? That's why I'm always adding color to my drawings, like drawing with red and shit like that. It's weird. It is weird. It's too much color. And then sometimes I like to add some cream, but yeah. All right, give me 10 minutes. Everyone make coffee. All right, I'm back. See, one of my big inspirations when I was a kid was like the covers to PlayStation Magazine. You know, like the Joe Mad ones and Art Adams and Bachalo. You know, and I always wanted these covers to be like in that vein. You know, without being like, oh, look, Rob just copied that cover and redrew it. Like that, I don't do. So it's always been like my goal to try to hit, that mark. Before, covers became all about CGI assets from games and shit. Thing to remember though is he wasn't the only one working on that. So you got Joe, and then sometimes you got inkers. I think the Alpha 3 one was just pencils. And then you have, the colorists, Liquid, Christian Lickner, and what's his face? Aaron Lusen. So you're looking at 2 to 3 different people at a minimum at a skill level that I don't have. So, trying to like do the work of 3 people by yourself, you know, at that level of quality, it's like I could spend the rest of my life just trying to and just. And then understanding that there's only so much I can do because you're only so talented, you know? You have to work with the tools you have. And then can I add anything to it too? Because like I don't want to be like, you could see he just redrew that Metal Gear cover. And that's the head from. I don't want to Frankenstein my art, right? Like, oh, he redrew the Metal Gear cover. Oh, he just reused. That's the Cheers Chun Li. Like, no, 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 no. You know. And having worked at Play, like my first cover I was on, we did 2 covers that month, and it was it was Joe Mad's first Darksiders cover, and I did the other cover, which was his ATV one. And it's like, I was fortunate to work at the magazines where those were still. Dave Halverson was the only one still doing artistic covers, which is why I pushed to work over there. They didn't even have an artist, man. Like I managed to create that job for myself, you know. And then the fucking whole goddamn industry got shut down because of, the recession. I mean, if that had never happened, I'd still be there now. Did you do those cuts? How did I do those cuts? Divots. Uh, there's some on his hands. You just draw a line, man. Like, see, you just go, here's a line. All right, add a little thick to the end, then add white. Boom! There's that, right? Get a thinner brush, and you can just do like Just thinner brushes and then just little rivets like that, see? Make them a little dark going in there. And look, now they kind of gouge into his skin a little bit, right? Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And I somehow managed to create that job for myself, and I lost it. Because the economy. Crazy as that. What happens when you attain your goal in life and it gets taken away from you, you know? Because video game magazines for me were my comic books when I was a kid. Nintendo Power, EGM, Game Fan, you know? Okay, well, that needs to... I mean, I drew the last cover to play. You know, we didn't even know we were shut down. I was working on the 100th issue cover when we went under. What happened to the person who told you? He's still working. He's Kevin Grievous. He's the creator of Underworld. I'm friends with him, you know. I was developing this comic with them for a long time called Monstroids, which were like the cross between like taking Frankenstein and the monsters and teaming them up like the Avengers, rebuilding them kind of like RoboCop, you know. But never went anywhere. No, because I never would have seen any money from it anyway. You know. The old drawing, yeah, that's pretty bad, huh? It's a character from Battle Chasers. I would never give that up, man. Everything hinges on it. It's just how I feel. I care more about the shapes than the rendering. Okay, motherfucker. Obviously doesn't want to go my way tonight. Oh yeah, I curse. I curse at my heart. Sometimes it just doesn't want to do what you won't do what you're won't go where you want it to go. It just doesn't want to do it. You know. So you're like, okay, I'll just do something else. It's harder here because my arm's having to traverse across a large area, you know. I'm not doing that with like a ruler or nothing. So you can turn on things like lazy Nizumi to kind of help smooth the lines out, but even then there's only so much you can do. Some nights you're on point, some nights you're not. I've been a fan of Mignola's work since I'd say 1992. I think the first thing was Ashley's stuff. I was the first thing I ever saw of his was his Tops Dracula. Let's see if we go type that Mignola. I got it free in the gift bag at Comic Con. This was pretty dope. Like before Dark Souls, there was this fucking comic. And then Gotham by Gaslight. But if you've never seen his Dracula adaptation, it's pretty fucking sick. So, you know, he would do a lot of construction and then draw over it, you know, with the blacks. These days he kind of outlines a lot of stuff, so I prefer the older work myself. Yeah. And then when they had the debut of Legend, you know, and he had Hellboy in there, I was like, oh, it's gonna be like the Dracula thing, but with a new character. It means he's not drawing three-dimensional construction, he's just drawing like outlines. It's kind of 2D-ish. It's like shorthand. And there's a difference. Probably because it's faster. So case in point, like before he used to do things like this, where he would work out how something looks three-dimensionally, right? Okay. Yeah, he'd work it out three-dimensionally. And then, you know, he'd go through and add in the inks, right, over these areas. And he used to do tutorials like in Wizard on this, so it's actually true. And I talked to him at con when I was a kid, you know. And then all of this right here, right? And so you could see these three-dimensional shapes, and then he could pick which lines to keep, you know, to kind of imply those shapes. But all the shapes would actually be drawn, right? Now, what happens is he does like this. You know, like he'll kind of just like draw an outline and then block in shadows to begin with. Like, you can see it in the art. You want to see my construction? Bro, it's all there. Like, I don't got fucking time to go back and do all this shit. I rebuild everything. So you can see here, this is my three-dimensional anatomy construction done over my color Refi. Right there. Let me turn one of these fucking faces off. And then things get built on top of that. And it's super counterproductive to do this digitally. Like, it'd be way faster to do it. I tend to do a lot of extra details in silhouette. So, like when I want to bust out these details, like, and I don't got time to keep going over this, guys. So, but I will show you, like, if I want to draw these ropes, I don't like drawing a bunch of lines. I'll draw the basic shape of it, okay, like this. Turn the opacity down, and then I come over and work out the center line so I know this goes this way, and then it comes around three-dimensionally. It's curving around. And then that fucking thing gets turned down and you draw your final lines over it. So that's what I'm talking about. But he used to do a lot of that, and these days he just sort of shorthands it, which, whatever. It's every artist's right to do whatever they want, but I prefer the older stuff. I don't really care why he's done it. I just don't care for it anymore, you know? So I like the older stuff. It happens. Some people get tired of my art. It's gonna happen, you know? I'll never stop doing that, though. Construction and stuff. It's what I'm addicted to, man. That's why I care more about that than a lot of the other parts. So. I don't really care at the end of the day why. You know, just it is what it is. So. Yeah, but I'll never give up construction. Do have fundamental rules. You know, I'd rather do like fine artists, man. They'll spend weeks on one piece. So you know, like 6 months on one piece. So if it means I do less and get a job at the DMV, then that's what I do. It's just my personal ethos, you know. Told you, young Rob was uncompromising with certain things. 15-year-old Rob, you know, didn't sit down and draw because it was easy or quick. You know, it was like, well, you want. The books I loved were never on time. You know? It's like when like you're gonna make deadlines. Jim Lee never did, and he became editor in chief at fucking DC. That's not true. You know? Quesada became editor in chief at Marvel. He never met deadlines. Paintings, man, watercolor painting takes 6 months. Not my stuff, but that's what I'm just saying. When people are like, "Oh, this takes a while," I'm like, only in commercial art do we. You know, if I want to do a lot of shitty, cheap art, I can just go back to doing T-shirts. You know. Faster rate? I wouldn't have bothered with faster. There's any bit of advice I could give younger me, it would have been to take up painting maybe at an earlier age, understanding how to like understand form, how to render lights over form. Probably would have been something I enjoyed more too. I learned how to do all this drawing because I thought that's how I would have to get work. Little did I know, you know, how the industry would change. There's no way you can make someone get better faster. You know, everyone's talent set is different, man. I don't know if I could have gotten better faster. I would have told myself to never go to that fucking art school. That's for damn certain. No, you gotta go listen to the podcast on that. I did a podcast, 25 things they don't teach in art school. You should listen to that one. It's just gonna piss me off. But I paid off my student loans, so whatever. It's in the podcast archive playlist. Maybe I would have told myself to never bother with publishers, to just get on with making my own shit. Mine Mine was $71,000 at a $44,000 tuition, with interest ballooned to $71,000. Paid it off. If I had not paid it off early, it would have been $158,000 over a 30-year period. What other fucking industry can get away with that, you know? Ripping off this country is what it is. It's ruining this country. How did I pay it off? A lot of fucking my money went to student loans, and then the last half of it, I used my inheritance. Both my parents died within a year. So, and I never had children. And I just bought a home. So I never owned a home. I never owned a car, you know. I never, I mean, it was a lot of sacrifice I had to make, you know. And I even started working while I was in college because I didn't trust that fucking place to ever get me a job either, which they didn't. So I was doing t-shirts full time while in college. Yeah. So I got a real fucking problem with these for-profit art colleges, you know, and what they're doing is coming. People are like, "Oh, you took a student loan. You should have known." No one fucking knows that. It's just ridiculous. You know, Australia's a pretty conservative country. You know, you don't get a fucking shit degree in that country and then, you know, owe $150,000 and go work at McDonald's because it's not gonna, you know, you can get that. We just can't get rid of the student debt in this country for shit degrees, and nothing's changing, man. And they're preying on everyone, you know, especially the creative types. And they go, "You know, you should have known." I'm just like, that's like saying, "Well, you should have known your kid was gonna die when he went to fucking the army," you know? Like, okay. Yeah, I get it, but fucking heartless assholes. Yeah, name a mortgage where you buy a home for 300,000, and when you get done, you end up paying 3.3 million on it. You know, and you can never get rid of that fucking debt, no matter what you. I mean, come on, man. Like, what other fucking? They used to call this shit robber barons. You know, go look in the history books. That's what that shit is. It's coal miner shit, man. You know. It's a giant loot train, man. And they're just loot training the whole fucking country. I was warning kids that would show up to that school at a high school. They'd show up and do like the open house day. I tell them, "Don't come here, man." And they'd still come here. I'd go, "Dude, don't. You're going to owe this. You're going to owe that." Then they go, "Well, it's only 100 grand." I'm like, first off, it's only 100 grand. That's fucking crazy. I'm like, second of all, you know, mine was 44. I'm like, after interest, you're going to end up owing like fucking $400,000 for this shitty fucking degree. You know? Like, where are you going to make that back? Oh, they're going to give me a job at Sony. No, they won't. And even if they did, Sony ain't going to pay you fucking 100 grand a year. You know, all my friends worked at Sony Studios. None of them got paid much, man. They were making 36,000 a year working at Sony. I made more doing T-shirts. And after they got, let me tell you something. After something shipped, guess who had to lose their job every fucking time? Right? They'd finish a game and they get laid off. You know, every 18 months they're looking for a new gig, like DJs, like radio show DJs. You know. Even people don't work at Blizzard for very long, man. You know, I got friends that worked at Blizzard, you know. And by the way, they're not really going to be drawing much. They're going to be mostly doing concept paintings and modeling. Entry level jobs. And they ramp up and ramp down. That whole Irvine area, Blizzard, Obsidian, and Upper Deck, all friends working there, and some family. T-shirts were the only one that were stable until the market crashed. Okay, this is not what I signed up for. Now I'm starting to get really annoyed with this. There's nothing I can do about it, is there? I'm stuck drawing this fucking thing. This is such a bad idea. Business classes. I don't know, man. The world doesn't, like, the world needs another business major. You know, business in what? Contracts? How are you going to go to, you may as well get a law degree too, because you're never going to be able to fucking sue someone who pays, no one's going to pay you enough to successfully sue them. You see what I'm saying? They don't want to fucking pay their contract. What are you going to do? Take them to court? You can. You'll lose. They'll fucking outspend you. And then you'll be blacklisted from ever working from them or anyone that they know. It's 1 part talent, 2 part luck at the end of the day for everybody, you know? Having someone try to run out on a commission doesn't matter to me because I get paid up front, you know? And if they go to PayPal and make a complaint, then that's great. They'll get their fucking money back, and I will fucking never do that shit for them again, you know? Only had 1 or 2 issues ever, so it's not really a big issue, you know? I've always been able to sell pretty much everything I do anyway, so if they, you know, I always pay up front with commissions. It's the difference between commissions and free. You should listen to the podcast I just did with Ashley. We just put it up. It's commissions with Gang Feather. So commissions with Gang Feather right here. And we talk about that. No, put them on while you're doing something else. Put it this way, no art class ever runs 20 minutes, right? You take a college class, it's going to be at least an hour long, you know? So everyone on YouTube wants things in like 10-minute spats, you know? And it's like, well, I couldn't learn all this in little 10-minute spats. So if people don't want to take the time to like listen, then oh well. You know, it's not like making cookies, you know? I get you don't need to have an hour-long conversation about making cookies. You can, but you know, it's like I get it would be overkill. But when it comes to this stuff, I just don't know how to have small, you know, they would be really pointless conversations. Like, all right, that's all the time we got today. It's like I can't, you know, I grew up listening to long form radio like Coast to Coast AM, and it's like I need to hear real shit. You know, I don't like 30-second sound bites. So yeah, no problem. And so it's just like, you know, I'm not gonna fucking bust out the Jeremy Johns version of SketchCraft where, you know, I like Jeremy, dude. It's just, you know what I mean? There's like do jump cuts and shit, like, you know, here on SketchCraft where you can learn to do your own commission. And it's just all super positive, but it's just filled with nothing. You know, it's just all about positivity and, you know, false hope. Just get you all to think like you're just one drawing away from becoming a masterpiece, a master artist. You're just one day it'll all work out for you, you know? It'll just click and you'll be there. And that'll be something. And then, you know, off. It's true though. You know, artists I know think they're just one drawing away from being a badass. It's like, no, man, that's not how it works. You know, this is not. It's not. You don't level up like an RPG, dude. I mean, there are days where you definitely know you hit a plateau. Like, okay, I've definitely improved some of my game here. You know, it's a significant leap forward, but it's not the same thing. You know, like the last time, and they're very rare. Like the last time I had that was actually about a year ago when using the lasso tool to do my coloring finally clicked in my head. It was on the Grand Theft Auto cover I did for Le Game Magazine, the French magazine, and I colored it and it was horrible. And then it was Christmas Day, and it was already turned in and they were fine. And then I sat down and rethought what I did, and for some fucking reason, it made sense. And I recolored the whole thing Christmas Day. That was my gift I gave to me, and I sent that to them, and that's the one they published. And my coloring's been fucking way better since, you know. But it just for some reason it just never clicked. One day it clicked, you know. I guess after doing it wrong enough times, you know, the hard way. So I get that, but that doesn't mean one day you're just gonna fucking become a great fucking artist, you know? Like you got some RPG fucking skill, you know? It's like, no, that's not how it works. It took all those other shitty drawings to fucking get there, you know? Yeah, it's just you got to train your brain to see things a certain way. And I always tell I told Brenda, if you can see things, then you just have to guide your body, your hand, you know, toward. If you can't see good art, if you can't see what it is you're trying to do, you know, you can't see the mental image, you don't know what it is you're trying to get to, then you're never going to be able to get there, you know? If you're only just trying to tell yourself, you know, look how good I am because I did something, you're not seeing, you're just trying to walk around feeling like you're a fucking, you know, Billy Badass for no reason. I've progressed in some ways, you know, you go backwards in others sometimes, you know, you're like, oh, I haven't done any of that in a while, you know. I felt that way when I was on Tom's covers years ago. I felt like I was going backwards on the penny stuff, you know. That's the one thing I don't do. I don't redraw all my art. I just move on. It's too much to do. But I get it, you know. If I ever redrew anything, it would be the Critters piece because I had to cut the original layout in half. So I'd definitely go back, rethink it, add all the characters from the original layout plus maybe 2 more pages and make it a 4 fucking giant page thing, you know. But I don't know. Not this day. Someday, but not this day. Mm, I get it. Do I have a goal? Yeah, my own books. And you're going to see that change in the next year. And to do that full time means I have to stop doing things like Transformers and Game Informers and stuff like that. This right here, the MegaVisions, might be the only thing I do extracurricularly. So I spent the last 3 years working on the world and the story and everything and developing the talent to be able to do it consistently. So I'm telling you, I'm just not feeling. Something about this is not working for me, guys. Yeah, I'm not keen on the delays that have gone on. Hey guys, I need to take a break and go figure this out. So, um, thanks for hanging out. It's been awesome, but I need to stop and think about what I want to do here. I will definitely be back on later today, one way or the other. So, doing some stuff, but I gotta figure this out. So, No, I'm not flipping it. All right, later, guys. Peace.